Hi, Yvonne Teoh Bource from Connect Soul with your soul wisdom for the week of July 23rd. Wow, halfway through the year already. It is flying by. It's interesting to me because we spend so much of our time thinking about we'll do that tomorrow, or we'll do that next week or next year. And we never know where we have these tomorrows. And I talk a lot about doing things now. And I've had a very busy year doing things now. So now I am here in Melbourne, and by next Sunday I will be up north in Hamilton Island, where it'll be lovely and warm, and I'll be out of my woolies again. So I'm doing a bit of tripping around this winter, which is all very exciting, but it's all about being in the now and responding to opportunities as they come into your life. So the topic that I want to talk about today is the one that always makes me smile, and that is the search and this constant seeking for happiness. It's like this carrot on the end of the donkey's nose. We have to be happy. Are you happy? Is usually what we ask each other. Are you happy? I just want to be happy. How many people come to me and say, what do you want? I say, what do you want? I just want to be happy. Oh dear, that word. What does happiness mean? Well, it means different things to different people. And I believe happiness is really a word that we bandy about without thinking much about what it means for us or for someone else. So what does happiness give you? My question usually is, how will I know when you're happy? Well, maybe a better question is, how will you know when you're happy? Because if you're running stories that say you can't possibly be happy unless you have the right partner, you live in the right place, you have the right house, you have the right amount of money, you have the right career, and without any of those things you can't be happy, then happiness will slip through your fingers. But when you can understand that happiness is a choice, it's a choice of thought, it's a choice of action, it's a choice of behavior. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today is, are you seeking happiness or are you choosing to be happy? Oh, okay. Are they not the same thing? No, obviously not. They're not the same thing. So choosing to be happy means that you're in charge of your happiness, which I am. I choose to be happy. It really doesn't matter what's going on the outside of my life. And like everybody else who is alive in this physical world, I have things going on in my life and in my family and amongst my friends that is not always great. But that never disturbs my sense of happiness. It doesn't make me suddenly feel really unhappy. It can make me feel sad. It can make me feel, empathy and support and compassion, but never unhappy. Because happiness for me is a total choice. It's a choice of thought, it's a choice how I appreciate life. I think my happiness is probably connected to a huge sense of appreciation for everything. For every breath I take, for every moment I have, for every flower, for every leaf of a plant, for the sunshine, for the rain, thank you is an appreciation, is my guiding light. So whilst I live in that state of appreciation, happiness is always guaranteed for me. And again, for me, happiness means peace of mind, feeling content, being able to look at life through the eyes of joy and awe. Life is amazing to me. So I don't actually run stories of how bad it is, doesn't this suck, all of that, and when I have, then I'll be happy kind of stuff, and when I've got enough money, and when I have this, when I have that. I don't run those stories. So I thought I'd talk about that today, because There are so many people on earth that feel that they are unhappy. And to me, that just means that you just don't get it. You don't get that happiness doesn't depend on the outside world, or on other people loving you, or on other people doing what you want them to do. It definitely doesn't. In fact, if that's what your happiness depends on, then you are in a pretty dark place, because you're a victim to an outside life, outside decisions of people, and it means that you have no control over your happiness or unhappiness. So that word happiness, many years in the book one of my first books that I wrote, which were all phrases, daily sort of daily living, yeah, that's it. And I wrote in that happiness is feeling good about yourself. Just think about that one. Happiness is feeling good about yourself. If you feel good about you, if you are happy with who you are, how you are, and what you are, then what's to be unhappy? So it's really important to look at yourself and be happy with that. This is all that you have right this moment. And if you want it to improve it, then improve it. But accept this moment with love. Be kind to you. I'm astonished at how harsh we treat ourselves. I can talk about that because I used to do it. I was so harsh on myself, and I had this ceiling I was always trying to reach, and I could never reach. Today I don't have that anymore, because I know that I can choose. I choose every day that happiness is that's my state of being. It is my natural state of being. It is when my body feels best, it's when my mind is clear, and it's when my spirit soars. So this topic, happiness, was really interesting to me because, as always, I was a little bit confused as to what I would talk about, and I did reach for a card. And I thought that rather than waiting till the end of this session, because it's actually quite a lot, I would read some of it and we would talk about it as I read it. Of course, the card I picked was happiness. And, okay, I'll read the first bit and then, we'll embellish on it. Crazy as it might sound, happiness is not dependent upon external circumstances, but is an intrinsic part of our natural state of being. Now, that's the first thing I want to talk about. Most of us grow up thinking that we have to achieve happiness, that we have to attain happiness, that we have to do something or be something to become happy. But happiness is in fact, if I could only talk, is in fact our natural state of being. Anything other than unhappiness is not our natural state of being. So what does that mean? It means that when you're unhappy, that's actually much more hard work than if you're happy. When you're unhappy, it's heavy stuff. You feel heavy, you're sluggish, there's the whinging stuff and the if only stuff. But if you're happy, instantly you're lighter, you're brighter. It's so much simpler and easy to live there because it's your natural state. So if you're feeling unhappy, then have a look at what stories you're running about your life, and particularly about yourself, that are causing you away from your natural state. Because let me tell you, those stories are taking you away from your natural self. Your natural self is magnificent, beautiful, and perfect in every moment, and is also continuously evolving to something more in every moment when you embrace happiness as your natural state of being. Feelings of unhappiness, separation, and sadness are projections of the mind and are not real. No, they're stories. They're stories we run. Okay, so let's just acknowledge that we actually live our whole lives through stories. But we have a choice of those stories. We can either have stories that make us feel fabulous, or we can have stories about feeling not fabulous. Your choice. And let me tell you, there are a lot of people who would choose to not feel fabulous because of different reasons, such as wanting to draw attention, wanting sympathy from other people, wanting people to show their care about you. I actually felt a little bit like that the other day because, I do share with you that my health could be a little bit better at times. But because I'm always appreciative and happy, it's not very obvious. And I don't want it to be obvious, right? But then if there's someone else around who is really, not well and attracting a lot of attention, there's my little ego sometimes goes, maybe I should let them know just exactly what's going on. And I'll go, whatever for? Because it would just take me away from my natural state of bliss and happiness. And as soon as I do that, I feel better, my body improves, and everything is well in my world. So just take a look at, if you feel unhappy, why? What story are you running about it? Are you blaming someone else for doing something that you don't like and therefore you feel unhappy? Have you just lost your job and you're blaming people because, now you don't know what to do? But you see, you can change the story and you can just say, oh my goodness, there must be an opportunity for change. This must be something I have to do to grow, because everything like that is an opportunity to grow. We are evolving beings, and if we always stay in the same place, we're not evolving. So soul will take us out of our comfort zone so that we can grow and become more. And if you look at it from that perspective, I wonder where this is going to take me next. Then happiness can return. But if you turn into a victim and you say, I've lost my job, I don't have this, I don't have that, have a look around you and look at everything you do have and how grateful you can be. Are you breathing? Yes. Have you got people around you? Yes. And anybody who tells me I don't have anyone who is there for me, that is a story. We live in a world where, I was told the other day, we've now gone up to 7 billion people. So don't tell me there is nobody there. Might be that you have to ask. Oh, dear me, fancy that. Just ask someone and say, you know what, I could do with somebody walking beside me. I tell you what, you'll be overrun with people who want to do that with you. But if you don't ask, they don't know. Unfortunately, we live in these illusionary thought atmospheres of all our lives. When these projections disappear, so these are the feelings of unhappiness, we are instantly in a state of happiness. So when you let go of the continuous repetition of the stories that make you unhappy, then happiness can return, because happiness is what is your natural state, not something you have to seek, not something that you have to search for, not something you have to do something for, not something you have to be something for. The more natural you are, the more you are your authentic self, the more happy you will be, because that is who you are. If you observe these moments, you would find it to be true. We are so conditioned to believe we must become something before we can be happy. This concept of striving and always becoming keeps us from being happy. We remain tied to misery. No, we don't want to do that. Pulling this card is the light from the lighthouse, showing you the safe way out of the fog of suffering and into the gentle waters of clarity. It's all about perception, isn't it? You can look at something and you can look at it and think, gosh, that's awful. Or you can look at it and go, well, it's possibly not exactly what I would like. However, it has, and you can always find something that is okay about it. The person that designed it, how it was made, something. And that's with people. You can always find something beautiful about everybody. You can. First, in the beginning, of the understanding that your unhappiness is not real, and second, the discovery of what has always been but you have not been able to see because of the fog. Happiness is your natural state of being. Good luck, the garden awaits you. Well, I think that's absolutely wonderful. The garden awaits you. The garden of life, the garden of joy, the garden of gratitude, the garden of laughter, the garden of sharing. All of those things are waiting for you to be with your friends, with your family, mostly with yourself. This illusion that you have to seek happiness has to go. If you want to be happy, be happy. When I ask people, well, how can I know that you're happy? People will say to me, well, I'll smile more. My answer to that is there something wrong with your mouth? Is something wrong with you can't smile? Come on. So act as if, be happy, walk around the world, smile at people. It's amazing what you get back. The more that you smile, the more people will smile back. So, there's another little trick that I love about when you're feeling sad, and that is to look up to the ceiling. Not that way, but and I've mentioned it before, just look up to the ceiling. I can tell you cannot stay unhappy while you look up that way, because something in our body just turns us instantly into our natural state of being, and we usually end up getting the giggles. You've seen kids do it when they're being chastised by somebody and they put their hands behind their back and they're going no, 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 because they know somehow instinctively that up there are good thoughts, down there are not so good thoughts. Okay, so lift your head. When I watch championship sport, such as tennis has just been in Wimbledon, and I always know, and golf, you always know the minute that somebody drops their chin, their energy has dropped. But the guy that straightens themselves up and looks up, they're fully energized. We have these wonderful secrets within our bodies, so use them. Happiness is not about your external world. Funnily enough, your external world will reflect how happy you feel inside. The happier you feel inside, the more happiness will come towards you. Remember, we are electromagnetic. And I've had so many wonderful things come towards me in the last few months, and really in my life. It just astonishes me, and so for me, it's a no-brainer. I just choose to be happy, no matter what. That's an interesting thing, because sometimes when you're not feeling so well, that's okay. You can actually feel unwell and still feel happy and content, and just accept, you know what, I don't feel so well today. How so? I'm going to take care of me because I love me and I deserve that. Still happy, maybe not feeling 100%, but still happy, because it's your choice. Wow, I wonder how many of you are going to drop me a line and tell me about their misery and how unhappy they are and that it's because of something. Or how many of you are going to say, you know what, you're absolutely right. We are naturally happy. Have you ever seen children play and their laughter is so infectious? They can laugh at anything. Why did we give that up? I have no idea. For me, my whole life is focused on teaching people how to change their state of mind from stories that are not beneficial, that are not happy, to stories that are beneficial and that do make you feel good. And the more that we get into the habit of doing that, the more often we'll feel happy, and the more we will be in our natural state, which is one of compassion, of joy, of love, and of happiness. And oh yes, that other one, abundance. We are in our natural state always abundant. Because when we're in that higher vibrational frequency, we just automatically draw abundance to us. And that is not necessarily in money. That is in love, that is in people, that is in gifts, that is in so many things. So take a good look at your everyday and just be happy. Make that a choice, and do not let anyone outside of you change that in you. You always have a choice in that too. When someone is attempting to bring you down, just look at them and smile and go, I choose to be happy. I choose to be happy. No whys or wherefores, but if you need a why or wherefore, because it makes me feel good. You know, I've often said, I choose to love you. Purely selfish, because it makes me feel good. What you do with it, I have no idea. Doesn't matter. I choose to love because it feels good. I choose to be happy because it feels good. I choose to be abundant because it feels good. And as Wayne Dyer always used to say, I choose to feel good. Don't offer me anything less than. And I think that's really important. When you make that choice, that you don't take anything less than happiness in your life, your life will bring you happiness. Beautiful, beautiful happiness. I just noticed that the sun, obviously there's a cloud over the sun, and now you can see my lovely shrubs at the window instead of a reflection. Because I am recording this a little bit later in the day. Often I record this early in the morning. But I was very blessed last night, and I had my 2 teenage granddaughters stay the night, and of course this morning we had breakfast together, and therefore I was a bit later. And again, you know, love in my life, so it comes first always. So here we are. We will not be searching for happiness anymore after this. We will just choose to be it. Don't have far to look. Really, it's right there in your heart. It's waiting for you. So, if you would like to do more work with me and learn how to be happy, even when things don't look so great, then you know all the links to my work are in the box below, in the description box. And I just have to apologize before I leave, because at the moment my website is down. There seems to have been a glitch or some sort of code that has been messed up with, and so it is unavailable. But you can still reach me on Facebook, or of course here on YouTube, where you can find me, and you can still email me. So yes, I'm hoping to get my site back up really quickly. We have to resolve the issue. So again, be happy by choice, not because of external circumstances. And always remember to love yourself more. You deserve it. You are magnificent. You are a joy. As long as you are in a state of happiness, people want to be with you. When you're in a state of misery, well, the only people that you have around you are people who also choose to be miserable, and that doesn't really sit very well. So, be happy by choice. I love you. As always, love yourself more. And hey, leave me a comment. Bye.